welcome to the special episode of the new Age Cannabis Podcast. I'm your girl, Aku, and as usual, I'm here with my partner in crime, Yao.
Partner in crime? I thought I'm your partner in cannabis. Welcome everyone to this special episode. We are so glad to have you.
Yes, we are hanging out in Greenside at a really cool place called the Greenside, where we're having a turnover new leaf event for Leafolo.
Is it set to be a vibe?
It's going to be a vibe. As you can hear, the music is already pumping, people are vibing.
And it's a good afternoon.
Great afternoon.
Today we'll be hanging out and chatting with some of the people at the forefront of the cannabis industry. Our first guest is also the host of the event, Myron. Welcome to the show, Myron.
Thank you very much. Nice to be on the show.
So tell us, why are we here today?
We're here to celebrate life and have a marvelous Sunday at the Greenside in the leafy, greeny suburb of Greenside. And we're here to enjoy a sponsored event. So it's a Leafolo sponsored event. It's a wellness event, but it's targeted at the cannabis lifestyle category, and it's helping people understand new ways to do things with Leafolo, which is a herbal mix. And it's one of our green sessions. So you guys have been here for a couple of hours, and I'm sure you're having a good time. And the whole idea is to create a space that at least 30 to 50 people can enjoy. And then we're streaming live on Facebook on the Greenside, and there are a few hundred people there. And we've been doing a couple of these events over the last 2 months. So for us, it's a chance to give back because our streaming is free. And the tickets, we target people to come to the event, and then we target people at home as well. So there's a goodie bag that you get for your 150 rands, and in that goodie bag is everything you need to participate. So whether you're here or whether you're there, you got your Leafolo and you got all your cool little gizmos, you know?
Awesome. That's very interesting. Please tell us more about the Greenside and what you guys do at the Greenside and what you're looking to achieve.
Okay, so the Greenside is, on the easiest way I'd say, Johannesburg's premier cannabinoid store. We have the most comprehensive CBD, cannabidiol, cannabidol, however you want to pronounce it, selection. We understand CBD both for maintenance and for targeting any ailment you have. And the Greenside is a little bit of a different place because we're more of like a showroom store. And we will have this entire collection available at home. That's stage 2. So what we are doing is we are coming in and creating a brick and mortar presence, and then we'll bring this to you at home. And that's kind of what the Greenside sessions are about, and to bring it back to this kind of Leafolo experience that we're having now.
So I'm going to change gears a little bit
Yes.
and ask you a question that's a bit different from the rest. So, if South African legislation were to change tomorrow, what would you want the legislation to look like, and what would make sense from a developmental perspective in terms of developing not just South Africa, but also the continent as well?
Well, pretty much for me, this is a license. I have a copy of a license here, and a license is a license to do something with a banned narcotic substance, and it says you have to be connected to the United Nations Narcotics Board. So, FUCK, and that's not what I'm looking for, So I'd like to see that everyone can grow as much flower as they like. Now they'll go to a co-op and they'll get given some seeds from a co-op. They then can take that flower back to the co-op, and there's a system, and the regulation comes in like the liquor trade, where you regulate the trading. And then you connect this to the ability to channel the everyday grower all over rural South Africa and rural Africa into connection through MPOs, into Canadian, into others, So we're talking about something beautiful, and I think that's what my friend Tito is thinking about. I don't think this Sapra frickin', I don't think any of that stuff is what's going to hold. I think the people will grow cannabis, Tito's growing cannabis, we'll all grow cannabis, Exactly. So I think that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see I'd like to see that we acknowledge the mother plant, cannabis. Cannabis is the link that brings the natural medicine home. So sorry, silly Simons, sorry everyone else, but it's cannabis. So that's what, it's like, it's about cannabis,
Well, on that note, I think I'll move us into the next part of the show. Aku, it is time for the Canna Quiz. Take it away.
This is a special edition. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. You just answer.
Cool.
Okay. CBD or THC?
THC.
Indica or sativa?
Sativa.
Smoking, dabs, or edibles?
Smoking.
If you had the munchies, what would you eat?
Not cheese.
What?
Not cheese.
If not cheese, then
No, because cheese is, I got a reaction to the cheese recently, so I want to eat cheese, edible.
so not cheese.
Not
One
cheese.
note there.
Anything but cheese.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything above cheese that I can eat, you know. But you remember, cacao, cannabis. Cacao and cannabis, not chocolate, cacao, vegan cacao. Yeah, cacao. So, but when I munch cheese, you don't always get cacao. You go for the flings. That's bad, boy.
Myron, thank you so much for coming onto the show. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you so much for giving me my few moments. This little setup has been great. So just to tell everyone who's going to be listening to this sometime in the future, we'll see you there through a wormhole. We are having a fantastic event here. And next time you get a chance, so Greenside on Facebook Live, you can check it out and then get yourself a ticket for the next event and then join the evolution, hashtag join the evolution at the Greenside.
So where can we find you on the different social media?
So you can find us at the Greenside Facebook page, Fresh and Healthy Facebook page. Our e-commerce is in Fresh and Healthy at the moment, and then we will be coming to you live on the Greenside website pretty soon, as soon as we're ready with the last tweaks.
Fantastic. Thank you so much,
And
Myron.
of course, Instagram, go Instagram. Yeah.
Our next guest is Crystal from Leafolo. Welcome, Crystal.
Oh, thanks guys so much. Thank you for having me. It's been so wonderful having you guys here. We feel so blessed to have such wonderful souls at our event. I can't begin to tell you.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, anytime. You're always invited. There is a guest list for you everywhere that we go. There's a Leafolo guest list for you guys. You walk just right in. No complaints.
So tell us, what brought you to the plant?
Well, to put a long story short, and like a really, really long story, and I am a little bit of a long-winded person. I have a bit of anxiety issue. I suffer a bit with panic disorder. I've suffered with depression for a lot of my life. And ultimately, my experience with the pharmaceutical industry as a youngster was pretty much, okay, I get a cut from this. And the first time that I went to see a psychiatrist, I got put onto 5 different psychiatric meds. So I was on an anti-epileptic, I was on an antidepressant, and a tranquilizer for the depression. You know the whole story. And I was 14 years old, so for me, I was kind of like, I felt a bit bad to be shunned for going through those normal hormonal changes that women go through, and I do suffer from these issues, but I never felt like it was to a point where I needed to be medicated to the point of being zombified. So I did always dabble in cannabis, and ultimately, because I was dealing with all these pharmaceuticals and having all these problems, I did land up getting addicted to harder drugs as well. And I'm now 4 years recovered. I went through a long recovery process, which really, really did me well. So I'm doing well in life now, and I actually found a little bit of an outlet in the cannabis industry, because honestly, all I ever wanted was to smoke a little bit of cannabis. That's all I wanted to do. I was a lighty. I just wanted to smoke some weed. And in the same way, when you're a lighty and you want to have a beer, you can't get a hold of a beer. That's the difference. So I guess what's brought me to the plant is a lot of trauma and stress that has come from it because it hasn't been regulated. And I'm here now still smoking it because it's the only thing that has truly benefited me, if I'm honest. I've been on all these medications, I've tried all those drugs to help myself, and honestly, cannabis is the only thing that's truly helping me to benefit myself. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it helps me, I'm saying it helps me help myself, if that makes sense. I'm kind of here for legislation and regulation, so people who use cannabis do it in the right ways, and they fully get the health and wellness that comes from it, instead of getting access to all these other things which are just pretty much life destroying. And the only way you do that is by legalizing, we're getting there, and then regulating, honestly. So that's what I'm here for.
It's a very interesting story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Crystal.
So, what is Leafolo, and what do you hope to achieve with the brand and this event?
Okay, so Leafolo is all about health and wellness and smoking. And a lot of people don't put those kind of two words together. Like, don't really think to yourself, okay, health, wellness, and cigarettes, or whatever the case is. But ultimately, humans have been smoking for thousands of years. You know, we've been saging our houses, we've been burning our incenses, we've been smoking tobacco herbs for as long as we know, and there's just something about it that some humans do like to smoke. But in South Africa, what you have available to you is often just the commercialized cigarette product line that is brought forward to you at your regular consumer stores and such things. And there are over 700 ingredients in the box itself. When you light that on fire, that's 7,000 combustible ingredients that you are now inhaling. It is incredibly addictive. Ultimately, cigarette brands actually put certain additives into their blends to make someone prefer that blend over another. So you'll find certain pesticides or additives do actually have addictive effects, so people become dependent on different brand houses. It's just really, it wreaks havoc on your health and your wellness, and it is so addictive. So what we're doing is we're creating a natural alternative to that, to put bluntly. We are making a natural smoking blend. It can also be blended into a nice tea as well, just so you know. It is 5 natural botanicals and herbs. They are hand-picked, they are sun-dried, they are individually processed, kind of like dried and blended into their own consistency, because the consistency of our product is very important, and it is made to be used as a mix with your cannabis, or to be used as an alternative product to nicotine and your commercial cigarette products, you know, like cigarettes in the box or nicotine rolling tobacco. So we are just offering smokers a natural alternative to the more addictive products that are unfortunately all that's really available right now in South Africa. So we're trying to break that and just give a healthier choice and a healthier alternative to people. We feel like that's necessary. You know, you should be able to choose what you want to smoke. And this does have quite a large audience in the UK as well as in America. So we're just trying to do that here. We're trying to bring forward South Africa. I mean, we can grow some of the nicest smoking herbs. Our herbs and our blends are uniquely African because of the Africanness in our herbs. You know, it's the perfect place for us to be doing this. So we're just trying to get that word out, trying to get people tasting our product, trying to get them experiencing the Leafolo vibe and seeing how it can like help them and help their health. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do with this event as well. Really just get people trying the product, see if they enjoy it, let them know what we can do for them, and create a relationship as well with people who use our products. I think that's important. The only way we know what works for you is when we talk to you. So yeah, that's ultimately what we're doing here.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, when we talk about cannabis and endocannabinoid system, everybody's different. So I like the fact that you have a give and take kind of relationship with your clients.
Oh, and honestly, like in the cannabis industry and people who are getting involved, you know what, you have to be kind of accommodating, and you know, you want to build up a good relationship with trust, and you know, you are helping someone better their life, and like that's not something that people want to take lightly. Even though it is smoking, we really want to make your life better. We want to help your lungs feel better. We want to give you a healthier choice to use with your cannabis. We want to, you know, see what we can do to help you as an individual rather than what we can push to you as a client, if that makes any sense. Because we really enjoy our blends ourselves. So for us, it's really a gift to be sharing it with people because we use it, we smoke it ourselves.
So I'm going to shift gears a little bit and change up and bring the topic about women in the cannabis industry.
Yes.
So if I said to you, we need to feminize the industry, what would you say to that?
I guess we need to feminize everything to, kind of like pull out the cannabis industry. I think it's important, yes. But at the same time, we don't need to feminize it. We need to have a specific amount of equality and respect for each other, where in the cannabis community, your gender actually does not make a difference to who you are as a person at all. Whether you are feminine, whether you are masculine, whether you are neither, whatever you are, it doesn't make a difference in this industry. You know what I mean? This is not a place for gender. This is not a place for race. This is not a place for age. This is a place where I think we all need to have so much respect for each other as individuals and understanding of each other's stories in the cannabis community, because if you want to be a true part of the cannabis community, you have to have another person's wellness in mind. You know what I mean? There needs to be that care in the community. So I think women towards women, we really need to uplift each other. There's also a lot that cannabis can do for women in specific that we're only starting to learn about now. Research is only really starting to take off over the last couple of years, and what we're finding out is incredible. So we're just going to find out more and more about what women can actually do in this industry. You know, like, everyone has their part to play, and I think the main role to play right now is preaching about the benefits and trying to take away from the stereotype, and I think every single person is capable of doing that. And yes, I think at this point it is quite male dominated. I mean, I don't know, you can tell me, but a lot of the people I work with are male. I don't have a problem with it. They're all very respectful, no issues. But I think the interest is there, and I think as the industry starts coming about and gets legislated, and there are more jobs and there are more people that are now needing to be employed, and, you know, we start lifting up the industry as a whole there, I think women really do need to stand up and start taking charge in the community, and also really fully participating in it, because there's so much that cannabis can do for women-related issues that men just won't experience, and we need to really start putting into the research into that and starting to make people aware of what it can do for you as an individual, as a woman, and speaking to women about what cannabis can do for each other, you know. So I think right now it's about the communication between women to women and just everyone in general.
Okay, so what is, in your opinion, one of the greatest misconceptions women have that's holding them back?
Oh, that's such a difficult question, because I think, like, women come from such diverse backgrounds, and, like, we individually have just, like, so many different things that, like, will hold you back. That's a difficult question. I think the main thing is yourself, always. I think sometimes we lose ourselves trying to make other people happy. And that's not what you're here to do. And, like, I've also realized this recently, I guess. It's about you. And if you're not happy, you darn well do something about it. You know, if you're unhappy in that relationship, you leave. You go girl. You go guy. You leave. If it's not making you happy, if you're not happy in that job, then you deserve better. If you're not happy with the degree you're studying, then you change it. And if you're not happy with where you're living, then you should move. Because ultimately, if you know what is not right for you, you will find what is right for you. And I think sometimes after you spend so much time with yourself, you get used to yourself, you don't recognize yourself as an individual anymore, and you forget to take care of yourself like that. You always want the best for someone else, and you'll say, you know what, you should be this. You should do this with your life. I see so much potential in you, and you must look in the mirror and be like, are you happy here now with what you're doing? Because having found my space here in the industry and with Leafolo and with the people I'm working with now, I found that space. And I wasn't asking those questions when I was in another job. I wasn't asking those questions when I wasn't in those spaces. And I think if I did, I would have been a lot happier if I had been asking myself, is this really what I want? These really the people I want to be around? Is this really what I want to do? So I think the main thing we can do to stop holding us back is stop worrying so much about other people. It's always important to take people into consideration, but, like, worry about yourself first, almost always. When you are happy, you will make everyone else happier. Always.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, very, very powerful words. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
I'm joking. Thank you so much.
Okay, before we wrap up, just one more time.
One more
time for the Canna quiz.
Oh, yes, okay.
So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Let's
and
do
you
it.
just shoot.
I'm shooting.
Okay. CBD or THC?
THC for me, please.
Indica or sativa?
Depends. When I wake up, give me some of that sativa, baby. But if I need to go to bed, or even after I'm just done with the day and I need to go chill out for a bit, I need that indica. After 12 o'clock, indica is the way to go.
Smoke, dabs, or edibles?
Was smoke, now dabs. I just wish I didn't cough so much, but dabs.
And what is your go-to food when you have the munchies?
Nom nom nom.
I'm not even thinking of the nom-noms. Like, the first thing I think of when you say munchies is Oros. I don't know why. Like, honestly, it's the one thing I relate to weed is like, I just need some Oros right now. Like, seriously. But definitely, like, salt and vinegar, slab chips. You know what I mean? We've got this place, Paulie's, down the road, and that's what I sit there and I crave. That's way too much.
Sounds really tasty.
Awesome.
Crystal, thank you so much for your very powerful words. But before you go, where can we find you and where can we find Leafolo online?
Honestly, the best way to get a hold of our products is directly through us online. The only reason I'm saying this is because we've got some limited edition combos and specials that we like having up in our store. So we have like starter kits and roll your own kits that you don't necessarily have in store. But we actually have over 150 stockists nationwide. So if you hop onto our website, you will find our store locator map and you can find the stockist closest to you. It's nationwide, so you'll find the store closest to where you're at. Also, if you do want us to stock the product even closer to you, if you have a favorite cafe or a favorite petrol station, please don't hesitate to contact us. We like talking to people. So we'll go see if we can maybe supply a little bit closer to you. We like making connections and making things more available. We offer nationwide delivery, overnight service as well. So that's why I really say online is the best way to go. But if you want to find your retailer, hop online to that store locator map online, www.leafolo.com, and you'll sort yourself out. No problem, it's right there. Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Oh,
Really appreciate the time. Thank you so much. Our next guest is Humboldt Rich from Canna Trade, and they specialize in the growing of cannabis. Welcome to the show, Rich.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. It's awesome to be here.
So, Rich, tell us more about the name Humboldt Rich, because I'm not sure. Is that your real name?
It's gained some notoriety, I will be honest, and my mom has slipped up a few times in the past. But yeah, they call me Humboldt Rich. I've spent quite an extensive amount of time up in Humboldt, California. I know they do have quite a dark and dangerous name. I don't know if you've watched the show on a popular streaming service. It's called Murder Mountain. So really, really interesting. And I think that's where the name actually stemmed from, just due to the notoriety of that show. So yeah, that's why they call me Humboldt Rich.
Very cool, very cool. So, what brought you to cannabis? What got you interested, and why have you taken such a passion in growing cannabis?
You know, it's such a culmination of everything, in my life. I think I started, my first dabble with cannabis when I was about 21 or 22. I kind of experimented with it and try to see what all the fuss was about. And it wasn't only until I saw the medical benefits it had for my grandma. She actually battles with her stomach and digestion, kind of movements in the stomach area, general area. And she takes all sort of tablets, herbal-based remedies, etc. And the one thing that really worked for her was a form of cannabis extract that she consumes, through canna. We call it a canna butter, and she would consume, what's approximately about the size of a fingernail. She would consume that amount, put it under her tongue every night, let it dissolve for 15 minutes, and she would feel, kind of a mild euphoric feeling. She didn't really like the euphoric feeling. However, the next morning when she woke up, she slept very nicely, and when she woke up, she had full, bowel working, sort of operations, and she felt better in general, in terms of her digestive tract and stuff. So that was, and because she is such a big influence in my life, seeing such a great change through a plant that we all had this bad stigmatism about has really, enlightened me to take a stance that I have and, empower people about to show them the light, if we may, in inverted commas,
I'm quite glad you mentioned the word stigmatism. So obviously the cannabis industry in general has been very stigmatized as something negative, something closely related to drugs and drug abuse, etc. So as a grower in the cannabis industry, how do you deal with the stigmatism of the field that you're in and the work that you do? And how do you use the work that you do to change people's perceptions?
Yeah, so I think if we break it down, stigmatism, has to do with people thinking, there's a fine line between medication and abuse. And I totally believe in the medication of cannabis, and yes, there is a recreational aspect to it. But when the line between recreational and medical become blurred, to a sense that person can't distinguish, and it's relative to each person, that's when it becomes an issue, I think. And that's when the stigmatism kind of attaches, because people then attach a person's negative behavior or negative traits to something that is negative in general. And that's where the stigmatism continues through generations. Now, if we work on more of an approach where it's an education approach, where, marijuana is not meant to just be grown and just to be flowered into marijuana to be smoked recreational, or cannabis to be smoked at parties, for recreational purposes. It's actually meant for, a bunch of different things such as hemp production, extracts which help for, cancer patients that can't actually physically smoke cannabis, but they can inhale it through, a less intense form of not smoke but vapor. And this allows them to get their medication through a smoking form, which some people enjoy more. Maybe it hits fast, you can feel the effects faster, medicative effects faster. And also, consuming marijuana through, something we call an edible is also sometimes hard for people to judge in terms of the amount. And that's why, once again, if we can control sort of the entire process and educate people on the entire holistic process of growing marijuana, we can then dosage the right amount of cannabis to that specific person. For example, take one bite of this specific product to feel X amount of euphoric effect, medication, or pain relief effect, etc. So I think that's kind of, how we will tackle it and how I see, the stigmatism being changed.
Fantastic. Now that brings us to my favorite part of the show, the Canna Quiz. Okay, Aku, take it away.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and you just shoot.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. CBD or THC?
Both.
Both, okay. Indica or sativa?
Indica at night, sativa during the day.
Nice. Smoking, dabs, or edibles?
Edibles at night, dabs definitely at night, and smoking anytime that I need to be medicated.
And if you had the munchies, what would you go to?
Cook Sisters, made from my favorite lady in Johannesburg.
Right.
Your grandmother.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know me well.
Rich. Actually, Humboldt Rich.
That's it. Please
Thank
don't
you
forget
so
it.
much for joining us on the show. We had a fantastic chat with you, and we hope to see you again soon.
Hope to see you soon.
Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram and on Facebook under Humboldt Rich. That's Humboldt, HUMBOLDT. Don't forget the D, otherwise you may find some creepy guys on Instagram.
Don't forget the D.
Exactly, don't forget. Oh my goodness.
Hello and welcome to the New Age Cannabis Podcast. Tell us, what is your name?
Hi guys, my name is Pearl Cebekhulu and I own the tea shop in Northcliffe called Tea Studyo, and we're here at the Greenside pharmacy with our tea brand Chanu Tea.
Interesting. Tell us more about Chanu Tea.
Well, Chanu Tea is actually a blend of different teas. Original teas, we import them from Sri Lanka, and then we brand them locally in South Africa with some local herbs, depending on the benefits that we want from that tea. We've got over 32 different teas at the shop, but today we've got just a few. The name Chanu, though, it's when we went to the factory in Sri Lanka, we met this lovely family that took us to the tour in the factory. They had a 5-year-old, which was a beautiful girl that grew up in Sri Lanka in the same soil, the same climate as our tea grows, and her name was Chanu. That's how we named our tea.
So what brought you to cannabis?
Well, what brought me to cannabis is because we actually didn't do cannabis tea initially at our shop until we had a client whose wife had Alzheimer's. He needed a tea for his wife, just to cool her off, very hectic moments that she has. And then we started doing a blend for cannabis. It kind of worked, and then we just added it as a range in our teas, and they've been enjoying it.
Wow.
And then we met the sponsor of this event, Leafolo as well, who we going in partnership with the cannabis brand, the Leafolo smokables as well as teas. So that's why we're here today.
Okay, so it's time for Canna Quiz. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and you just answer.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Okay. CBD or THC?
Of course THC.
Indica or sativa?
Indica.
Okay. Smoking, dabs or edibles?
Smokables.
Okay. If you have the munchies, what is your favorite food to go to?
Oh, that's very easy. I like salty stuff, like spicy crisps. I like that. I usually buy those at Woolworths. They're the best.
Nice. So where can we find you, Pearl?
Well, on Instagram, I'm Auntie Pearl, ZCW. And everywhere actually, even on Twitter. And then you can visit our shop in Northcliffe Heathway Centre.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Next, we have Cian from Druids Garden, a health and wellness company. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So tell us, what brought you to the plant?
Druids Garden is an existing wellness company. We make a range of traditional Asian and African medicines from plants and mushrooms. And so CBD is a very powerful medicine, and it's an indigenous plant to South Africa. We're a very proudly South African company, and so it was a natural step for us to move into cannabis as a medicine, as a very powerful medicine.
Okay, interesting. So at what point did you think, I should grow and cultivate traditional medicine?
Well, I think we were born doing it, and I think all of the people involved have been involved in traditional medicine since they were children. So it's not something that we made a decision to go into. It's something that's been part of our lives for forever.
Oh, interesting. So how do you navigate around the misconceptions about your products, cannabis?
Well, a lot of people think that cannabis is purely recreational, and so education plays a very key role because CBD or hemp used for CBD and other cannabinoids, it's not just CBD, have all sorts of medicinal benefits. And so it's about educating the public, and that's going to take time, and it's also going to take time for them to learn, and also for science to be able to show irrefutably what the benefits are.
Okay. So what changes do you wish to see in legislation and how it could benefit your business and in the country?
Well, we'd like to see the laws or the ability for people to enter the markets made a lot more accessible, particularly rural South Africans. South Africa's been one of the biggest cultivators of cannabis in the world forever, and now it needs to be used as a tool for social development, for uplifting communities. And so for us, we'd like to see the power of the plants be put back into the hands of the indigenous people who have been growing this indigenous plant forever anyway. And so the law needs to catch up with what humanity has been doing.
Time for Canna Quiz. I'll be asking a few questions. You need to answer. CBD or THC?
CBD.
Indica or sativa?
Sativa.
Smoking, dabs, or edibles?
Smoking.
Your favorite snack when you have the munchies?
Wow, honey.
Nice one.
Yum. Ashley, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
So you're from Druids Garden. What do you do at Druids Garden, and what brought you to the cannabis plant?
Okay, well, I'm the head grower at Druids Garden. To tell you about what got me growing, basically, I've been involved in plant medicines and growing plants my whole life. As Cian said to you earlier on, we've all had a passion for the medicine and the plants and the healing benefits basically our whole lives. I've been
growing and have a love for nature and just the natural world always have. And so my life path has just brought me to this point where I'm now growing cannabis. Yeah. Professionally. Yeah.
And how are you finding the agricultural and legislative landscape of South Africa and growing in South Africa? And where do you see growing of cannabis going in the future? Is it going to be more large scale, more small scale farmers? Okay. And how do you see it impacting the economy?
Well, yeah, that's sure. On the economy side, it's a huge impact. I mean, that's pretty obvious. That's been proven overseas in many countries that it has a massive positive impact on the economy. I think that being a grower in the early phases of this industry, while it's still growing and the legislation is still being formed, it can be a little bit frustrating. But we've got to be patient. It's like I said, it's an emerging industry, and the legislation just needs to find its feet and find its place. And I think there's a lot of space for huge growth and development in this country. I think we have good things to come.
Fantastic.
Yeah, awesome.
Next we have the Canna Quiz.
Canna Quiz.
Canna
Awesome.
Quiz. Okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions. CBD or THC?
Both.
Indica or sativa?
Also both.
Smoking, dabs or edibles?
Ooh, I'd say smoking.
Your favorite snack when you have the munchies?
Oh, wow. Yeah, smoked trout and seed biscuits.
Healthy.
Very healthy. Thank you so much for joining us, Ashley.
So where can people find you?
Druids.garden or www.druidsgarden.co.za.
Awesome.
Druids Garden SA on Facebook.
Yeah, on Facebook, Druids Garden SA.
Don't forget to subscribe to our social media channels for more updates and information about anything cannabis. And listen to all our shows. They're all amazing. Trust me.